that's some great character work, and as always, I love character promos. I love the developing character promos because we don't see this fully fledged. We see almost elements of it, elements of what this character would ever become. Staying with that piece, and I'm so glad you wore that shirt today, Greg, because we're gonna hit on a Cody promo next, and it's a good one. It's a solid one, and I'm gonna call this era of Cody the prototype. And I'm not talking about a young John Cena. I'm truly talking about who Cody was in this era where it's Bullet Club. There's some Cody's not really the leader, but he wants to be the leader, but you're not sure if he's a leader with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. He has this really good friendship, but there's tension there, right? There's where this line came from where Bullet Club is fine, when in fact it was far from it, right? This next promo leads into some of my favorite events, and I think I've talked about it. It leads from some of my favorite events, um, from the New Japan G1 special in Long Beach, from the later New Japan early shows in the US when an AEW did not exist. And I think that's what I want to focus on right now is you're going to see Cody. And I tell you, if I took this Cody and placed him in a WWE ring today, he would not miss a beat.
Bullet Club is fine. And with Super Card of Honor just around the corner, here we stand. The deep breath before the plunge. And let me ask you a question. Can anyone here name me a Kenny Omega match that they thought was great, that made them feel something? A match that didn't include Okada or bona fide superstar Chris Jericho.
What kind of point is he trying to make here?
No, you can't name me a match. Because that's what Kenny Omega is. He's that underground band that you swear you love his music, but you can't name any of his songs.
I think we all know that's not true, folks.
The perception that Kenny Omega is the greatest wrestler in the world today, when in reality, the reality is that I dominate the news feed, that I monopolize the budget here, that I am the leader of the Bullet Club, that Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi are a publicity stunt. The reality that he called me a reject from my former company when he's a reject from its developmental system.
Come on now.
And the reality that Mr. Clean or Mr. Omega had the gall, had the nerve, had the balls to put his hands on my wife.
And the connection to summer is this isn't a lead into a very hot summer program that would eventually be pretty historic in my view. Um, Adrian, I'm going to come to you because we were just talking about this being you being such huge New Japan fan, and this was when ROH was still independent, working
Right.
very closely with New Japan, and you have a lot of back knowledge on this. So tell me about what you think about this program.
No, this was perfect, man. I almost forgot about that promo. I remember him saying that, and I definitely remember the reject line because that one had to be shared a couple times on Twitter, on Facebook. Shout out to House of Kayfabe, stuff like that, because that was a bar, man. That was a bar. He cooked them. He cooked them on that. But like unpacking that promo, is he lying? Like I know as a New Japan fan, as someone who enjoyed that stuff and was really into it, I love all wrestling. But now it's been some years and he's not lying. He wasn't lying. So, the best promos have some truth to it. An
Mm-hmm.
element of truth.
Hmm.
An element of critique. And that crowd wasn't trying to hear that. I know I wasn't trying to hear it, but as a person who appreciates a well delivered promo, I I was sold, man. I was like, hell yeah, Cody, cook him, man, cook that man. And Adelaide, I know you know this because you were there. Both of us were there in Long Beach.
Yes,
The
sir.
crowd hated Cody.
Oh, with a
Anything and
passion,
every
with a passion.
movement, anything and every movement that came from Cody through his entrance, through the match with Okada, anything that Cody did, the crowd just crapped all over Cody. But it was gold. It was gold. He had
Hmm.
everyone the palm of his hand. So that's one thing I definitely appreciate about Cody, man, because once he went out and bet on himself and asked for his release, through his journey, he's always been different than the promotion that he was at, which
Hmm.
made him look that much more of a superstar. It just made him look like he was that much more of a big deal. And a lot of that has translated to WWE, and I'm happy for it because the dude definitely deserves some of that special attention. He's a star. He's
Oh,
definitely a star, and he proved it once he left WWE. When he was at New Japan, you could tell he was different. When he was at ROH, of course, his line was the longest in Atlanta,
yeah.
but he was different. He was different than everyone. That's part of the reason why people didn't like him at AEW during that time because he was so different.
Because he
But
was
I
trying to,
mean,
yeah,
kudos to him, man. Kudos to him.
absolutely. First meet and greet I ever did outside in California. Outside, he was wearing the suit. He was
Mm-hmm.
wearing the same thing he wears now. He knew
Yep.
what he wanted to be.
And he
He
was the
had
only
that.
one.
He had that character like in his mind already,
He was the only
and it
one.
was just a matter, right? Nobody was
Yep.
buying it at the time.
Everyone else had t-shirts and sweats on and looked
Yep.
like slubs, but Cody had on his three-piece suit and was clean as hell.
Something we don't see here is down the line. Obviously, he wins the U.S. belt, the newly minted U.S. belt,
Mm-hmm.
um, while being the NWA champion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And think now he's getting that critique of the way he holds the championship. All I see is NWA,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? But Greg, I'm gonna come to you now. What's going through your mind? You have that all the backstory. You know the story
Mm-hmm.
of a Cody Rhodes, and at this point in his development, what do you see?
I think it's interesting to watch him because as much as people compare him to his dad, he's so different. Like that promo was
Definitely.
cerebral.
Hmm.
That promo was heel. You listen to his promos today, they're heel promos.
Yeah.
But just everything he does in that ring makes people feel. He said that during that promo, and I don't know if you guys picked up on it. How do you make people feel, Kenny? Do you make them
Hmm.
feel?
Hmm.
And he's right. Nobody feels a Kenny Omega match. Most of these, they don't feel it. They enjoy it. So I'm not taking anything away from the matches, right? But nobody comes off of a Kenny Omega match with a tear in their eye. They did for Cody.
I
They did
don't
for
know, man.
Cody. Now here's what I'm saying. Here's what I mean. Cody beats Nick Aldis. There's people crying.
Mhm.
Grown
Yep, true,
men crying. Cody wrestles Dustin. There's grown men, including Dustin in the ring, crying. Cody
true.
just won the WWE Championship. There's grown men, I'll say myself, had tears in their eyes. He had freaking Samantha crying. He had Michael Cole crying. He makes people feel at a different level. So when he says that about Kenny, when people were saying Kenny's the greatest in the world, he's coming back to say, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Kenny needs the dance partner, is what he's saying. And what was
Mm-hmm.
it, and kind of what you said, and he's saying exactly to a crowd who was worshiping Kenny at the time,
Mm-hmm.
That's
and
a
he
good
was
point.
calling them out. And if you listen to that crowd, they were chanting a little bit of Cody sucks, but after he hit that line, Cody, 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 because people appreciate facts, people appreciate story, and people appreciate feel. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what he did. But I want to point out a couple other things that Cody does. And he's done this since the day he left, and he grew and grew, and he does it to this day. What did you notice that he did when he walked around that ring? Did you notice? So if this is the microphone, he held the microphone with this finger out. What's on that finger? That Ring of
Oh,
Honor ring.
yeah.
He
Oh
made
yeah, that
sure
was.
that is out front the entire time because the dude is the ultimate promo,
Hmm.
and he made sure this ring is the whole time was in your face. So he's putting over the promotion at the same time he puts over Kenny, at the same time he puts over Okada. Think about everything he's putting over at the same time. Yeah, he blasts Kenny, but he's still putting him over because he's mentioning him. He's putting over Okada. He's putting over Jericho. Because what else happens if I put over Okada and saying that Kenny beat Okada, but Okada was great. Kenny beat Jericho, but Jericho is great. So now when I beat Kenny, I'm better than Okada and I'm better than Jericho, and now I
Right.
have elevated myself. That is the art of a promo. That's the art of putting everybody over that says, if I'm competitive with him, I'm better coming out of this.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
He never said he wasn't good. He just said, are you the best in the world? And that's what I loved about that whole promo. The delivery was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The gum chewing through a little heel spit into spin into it. Him spitting the gum out said, "Now I'm taking it serious." Everything he does is so almost calculated that
Deliberate.
everything he does is means something, and that's why I think he resonates today.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at his characters, there's no reason he should be a face. There's just not.
Right.
Yeah.
The dude is Ric
Yeah.
Flair in a sense. He's walking out there in suits that nobody else can afford that's in the crowd. He's a champion. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got everything that
Smoking hot
people
wife.
aspire to be, but yet people love him because he's genuine too. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Hmm.
think, I mean, but this promo is a foreshadow. Man, it's such a foreshadow. It's fun to go back and look at that one.
Right.
I'm glad you brought this because, man, watching that also tells you he's got so much more to give. Oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
this
Right.
dude.
And he's feeding off the crowd, right? He's not just reciting.
Mm-hmm.
He's living it. He's breathing it. He's pausing.
Mm,
He's reacting. And it's like he's distilling this promo that will be his trademark essentially, right?
mm-hmm.
Down the line. And the one that we just accept now, because he can walk into that WWE ring and hit it like, like in his sleep, but he's still, he's finding the notes, right? He's
Mm-hmm.
finding the notes to that song right now still. I love it. I love the promo. I love the conversation, guys. And I love that fact that we all have real unique experiences with this era of Cody and that we've seen that journey for him. And it's always fun to go back. So
Definitely.
that was really cool.
If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, look us up on socials at Suplex Dinner Club. And be sure to check out our other projects. We talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all. That's a weekly college football podcast where we don't just talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, we talk about all things college football. The Life and Times Pod, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast, where I have some chill conversations with some cool and interesting people that I've met in my years in the hospitality industry. And of course, check out Talk 'em in the Building. That's a pro wrestling podcast where we solely focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and we pontificate on the promo. It's a fun project, and if you're a pro wrestling fan, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. If you're into TV and movie reviews, check out Four Corners Cinema,
with Ari and Adrian, a podcast where two lifelong pro wrestling fans review film and other forms of media that just so happen to have some of our favorite pro wrestlers. The Suplex Dinner Club family is growing, and I would love for you to be a part of it.